Hi everyone, now that Diablo Immortal has been out for a week roughly, I want to talk about the pay to win again in this game. So I did make that one video before the release talking about, roughly how it's gonna be based on what we knew back then from the learnings on the beta and these kind of things. And I guess by now the picture has become a little bit more clear. So I have been playing this game a lot in the last days. I have been having a blast actually. I think personally, as a free-to-play game, especially considering this is a mobile game that you can keep in your pocket, this is incredibly good. So as a game, Diablo Immortal probably sets new standards for especially mobiles. And overall, I think that a lot of people are actually having a blast just playing, getting through the campaign, trying out the various things that the game has to offer in the end game. So it is actually pretty good. I don't really have much issues with the game aside from buggy stuff, maybe a few imbalanced things and these kind of things. But overall, yeah, it's solid. I'm having a blast with my free-to-play monk. Right now I am ranked #1 on the PvP leaderboards, at least on a monk, and I think maybe the second highest on the server even. This is on Dark Wanderer EU. And yeah, I've been playing a lot of PvP basically. And obviously at this point there's almost no way for me to catch up to challenge rifts anymore, because challenge rifts are mainly decided by combat rating, and as a free-to-play player you will not have very much of that. So if you look at this here, I'm at 1049. I cannot even do Hell 2 that some other people started farming like half a week ago, which is incredible. And yeah, it's just gonna be a bigger and bigger gap over time compared to the people that actually pay to win basically. So there are some things that have changed a lot for the worse for free-to-play players going from beta and release. And I want to talk about them and also give some suggestions about what could change to maybe make that a bit better, at least in PvP. I think that because this game is so heavily focused on PvP with things like the Shadow War and becoming the Immortals, the Rite of Exile. So a lot of people don't really know yet how that works, but you're gonna learn over time. But basically it is about PvP. And becoming the Immortals is obviously a big honor and the big goal for a lot of people. And I think that in order for this to be attractive, there needs to be some kind of chance for people to actually get there. I believe that the three main reasons why I actually have any kind of chance right now as a free-to-play player is because I simply have a lot of experience both with Immortal and ARPGs in general, especially Diablo 3. And I also have just been playing a lot, meaning I was able to progress through a lot of the daily, weekly caps consistently to kind of keep up my character's power on the level that is kind of acceptable for now. But I can definitely notice that my win rate is going down, my chance to beat my opponents is going down. So when I'm in a 1v1 scenario, I do encounter a lot of pretty big guys in those battlegrounds, and it's really tough to really compete. So for example, when you look at my stats, I have roughly 31,000 life, I have 2.7k damage, 225 resonance, so I get a bit of like base attribute bonus. And the thing is that you simply do not really gain any kind of meaningful power progression outside of legendary gems, which is the main pay to win mechanic. So this was pretty obvious from the start, but I think that the gap is simply too large. So because of those nerfs that happened from beta to the live release, especially for example to rare crests, here you get like 1 for free and you can buy like 4 more a day. And every month you get actually 2 legendary crests, 1 from the battle pass, 1 from the Hills trader. But yeah, for example, if you look at the chances to gain any kind of legendary gems, those have actually been heavily nerfed, and this is something I just learned yesterday. So I was actually expecting that rare quests would have a 12.5% chance for 1 star and a 2.5% chance for 2 star. So this was, I think, how it was in beta. And going into the live release, they have actually nerfed it to 5%, 1 star, and literally nothing else. And I guess a lot of you have also seen some articles or streamers, trying those so-called $25 rifts. where they literally spend $25 every single run to get 10 legendary crests, and you have these chances here to get the different gems, which is obviously also pretty awful. But if you spend enough, like somewhere in the 4 to 5 digits, then eventually you're gonna get some pretty big gems, and they make you a lot more powerful. And how do they make you more powerful? Well, once through the combat rating, because higher gems give you more combat rating, which is kind of the entry ticket to the higher hell difficulties, to higher challenge rifts, to the raid bosses. So without combat rating, you cannot do anything in PvE. Now in PvP, this is kind of normalized. So there is a maximum bonus damage and less damage taken of 10% based on combat rating difference. So this is actually rather good. So if I remember some things from the alpha where this was actually not the case and this was not normalized in PvP, you had people that were straight up just completely one-shotting, overkilling someone 5 times over because he had like a plus 800% damage taken penalty to some other players. So this has been fixed, of course, and we still have the issue though that those legendary gems with the higher ranks give you incredibly more resonance. This is coming from the combination of the stars of the gem and the rank of the gem. So you see here 30 resonance, you see here 30 resonance, and here 60 because the rank 2 2-star gem. And if you go further and you have like a 3 or 4 or 5-star gem, and that one is like rank 5 or something, you get like basically my entire resonance in one single gem, and then you can multiply this by times 6. And this is not even fully maxed out. So people that go really deep will have thousands of resonance, meaning that every 20 resonance you get 1% base attribute bonus. So people will have something like double, the 2.5 times or so the damage and life, and that is not normalized. So especially when you're playing Battlegrounds, you can notice this, that sometimes you just get absolutely stomped on the higher ranks when you actually do run into those whales, and you have almost no chance to survive. They sometimes just go ham and destroy the entire team when you're like mostly free-to-play players, or you have like some people that have spent something like 20, $100, even a few $100 in some cases is not anywhere close enough to have any kind of chance against some of these guys. Mostly you can tell how strong an opponent is based on their life pool, so you can mouse over them, at least on PC, and you can see that they might have 31k life, so this is probably a free-to-play guy or close to it. And then you have like some other guys that have 46,000 life, for example. So if you look at this here, this is a pretty big Crusader here. I've actually seen someone with 55,000 life. And aside from resonance, meaning legendary gems that are bought, you cannot really increase your life pool in a meaningful way. So you can stick a bit of vitality, you can maybe take the survivor tree on the paragons, but at this point, none of these actually really matter. So this is almost entirely due to pay to win. Now, obviously, Diablo is an ARPG, and as such, we would expect that there is a bit of a difference between players based on their progression, based on their gear, based on, just how lucky they are as well. So this just is part of an ARPG, I guess. We have this in WoW as well. But overall, yeah, I think the gaps are actually definitely showing to be too big. And there is almost no reason to really try anymore. So someone who is not really, as experienced as I am and as dedicated as I am will have no chance whatsoever. And I hear this from many people just getting stomped entirely. So I happen to be rank 1 because of a few factors, and I totally expect that this will just, decrease over time as we go on. People learn more about the game. People catch up to the caps that I have already grinded out, basically. And people will just completely destroy anyone who doesn't pay a lot. Now, Diablo Immortal is a mobile game, and as such, we typically expect to pay to win. And I guess this doesn't really come as a surprise to most people. But I think that in order for this game to actually have any kind of long-term incentive for people that want to be any kind of competitive and don't spend a ton of money, there needs to be some normalization, and there needs to be some kind of goal, some kind of, something to work towards that actually makes a difference. So right now, as a free-to-play player, you can go in, you can do your daily caps of, you do like 1 Raid the Vault, you do like 1 Legacy of the Horadrim, you do 3 Elder Rifts, you do, a bunch of random zone events, and then you're basically done for the day and you log off. And the thing is that everyone is capped in the same way, everyone is capped with the Paragons and the gear upgrades, but the only thing that is not capped is pay to win. And not only is it not capped, but it is also not time gated. So when you go and farm these Elder Rifts for legendary gems, you can literally do this all day long and get extra legendary gems. Right now, this is obviously too late to change. The damage has been done. People have been running hundreds of rifts, with 10 legendary crests, getting insane amount of legendary gems. And you can't really just, patch that out and take it back because, well, everything will fall apart. But what you can do is just improve the whole system for free-to-play players so that they actually want to stick around. So I believe there needs to be more normalization done in PvP so that there's some kind of like long-term perspective for both the whales and the free-to-play guys alike. Because even among whales, there are some guys that go, really deep, and there's some guys that do less than that. And you're also gonna notice those differences. And then imagine you are someone who is like some kind of like mid-range whale who only spent like 2,000. And then you're gonna fight someone who's like a really big whale who spent like 20,000, and you're still getting absolutely stomped. Now, this guy who spent 2K will, basically immediately quit probably because of how futile it is to keep going, to keep spending, and it's just gonna, escalate. So I think that normalization also needs to happen for resonance, so that maybe it straight up just doesn't apply in PvP, so that you don't have these huge differences in base attributes between players. Or maybe the resonance could be reduced, down to 10% of its regular value, or something like this, so that it can maybe feel a tiny bit progression, because even a few percent difference between players spread out among, various factors, like combat rating, like resonance, like the stats on a legendary gem that will also still apply. And some of them have way better procs on like the 5-star gems compared to those, puny 1-star gems. Like this one is, for example, absolutely useless. This one is absolutely useless. So I have some gems that, I'm kind of forced to use for the stats, but their effects basically give me nothing. They are low rank, so even those effects are not even doing that much. So it's just a huge difference that stacks up from various effects right now. And this double life and damage that I talked about from like the really big whales compared to me is probably even more than that, because some of their gems are just, way higher rank. Someone who has like a really big, like a rank 10 Carson's Invigoration probably gets something like a 20% attack speed bonus instead of only a 6.5% attack speed bonus from that gem. And these bonuses will also stack up across other items. I think that normalizing resonance would be an important step to give PvP any kind of competitiveness. PvE obviously is not competitive at all. So with this combat rating system that the game has, there's like no way. But at least in PvP there should be, some kind of comparability between characters. And I think also to give especially the people that want to play the game some kind of reason to log in and actually play for longer amounts of time besides their 2 hours of daily caps. I think that this 5% chance to get a 1-star gem from a rare crest, I think this should just straight up be abolished, and it should be baseline. So when you run rifts, you have a 5% chance to get a 1-star gem, and then maybe give it some kind of cap, so that people don't go all in on botting and these kind of things. I know the developers are very careful with botting, and they want to kind of reduce the impact of botting as much as possible. So there could be some kind of daily cap. Maybe you can grind up to 2 legendary gems like this per day for free if you don't use any crests, and then you buff the rare quests to, something like, I don't know, 25% chance to get a 1-star gem, and maybe 10% chance for a 2-star, and then like a 1% chance to get, anything higher than that, like 2 to 5. So I think something like this would actually give people a bit of a long-term goal, a bit of a long-term perspective, and would allow for at least a little bit of progression from grinding. The progression is simply so slow that you will basically never really get out of this, 1-star and maybe a few 2-star gem scenario, if some of them even apply to your build. So even if I do get some random 2-star gems, there are actually a lot of them that don't really work for me, because some of them are for minions, some of them are for ranged classes, some of them are just kind of like some PvE stuff. So you cannot even do so much with most of them. So even in that case where I do get more legendary gems, at least I could rank up my gems slowly over time. So maybe I'd get like a rank here or there, and maybe we could kind of like slowly progress up to a higher level. As a free-to-play guy, I absolutely do not expect I will ever see a 5-star gem. I believe the expected time required for this is something like 87 years to get one 5-star gem on average as free-to-play with 2 legendary crests a month. And there are a few ways to get maybe another legendary crest here or there. So one is from the Shadow War. So apparently there's a legendary crest reward when you go there, but I mean this will be only open for basically the best players on the server, and we don't even know if it's just one crest or maybe more, but I expect it's going to be one. So this can happen potentially once a week, but yeah, only for the winners basically. So very few people, and with the PvP being so imbalanced, most of them will probably just go to the whales anyway. And then also when you're an immortal, you'll be able to buy one extra legendary crest from the Hills Trader. So if you look at this here, there's a monthly limit again as one, same as here. So theoretically you can bring down that 87 years to maybe 50 years or so if you constantly win Shadow Wars and become immortal all the time. But obviously it's still pretty ridiculous. I think another good change could also just be to make this legendary crest a weekly limit instead of a monthly limit, because the cost is actually very high. 1600 hills is something you don't get very easily. You mostly get hills from the shadow activities and these kind of things, and most of them are either one-time rewards or have like a monthly reset or something like that. So it is very front-loaded, and even though you might feel very fancy now with like lots of hills, the income will slow down a lot. So even with shorter cooldown on buying these crests, you will eventually run out, and yeah, then it's not even gonna be that crazy. In any case, those are my 2 cents about the pay to win right now, and what I believe the devs could change or should change, and how I believe this game will have, a bit more like longevity, as right now I believe that especially a lot of the rather free-to-play or close to free-to-play guys that try to be a bit competitive, that come from especially like grindy ARPGs, like from Diablo 2, Diablo 3, they are kind of like disillusioned about the whole system. And they're kind of like, just stopped in their progression. You cannot really get anywhere anymore besides doing your dailies and then logging off again and waiting for a Paragon cap to catch up, so that then you can get very tiny improvements again. I think in addition to all of that, it would be cool if there was like some other kind of PvE game mode that would be a bit more normalized, that would have a leaderboard. So right now we have the challenge rifts here, and they are mainly decided by combat rating, as I mentioned. But I believe it would be cool if there was some kind of, special new rift type that, it's maybe something like Torghast and WoW or so, where kind of like you progress on the go, and you have like maybe different affixes or different bonuses and maluses that you can choose on the go, and you have kind of like a normalized character that goes in. So something like this could be amazing, to have some like weekly leaderboard or so for this with a few rewards, so that people can actually have some dedicated, PvE skill-based game mode, so that you have a bit of competition there as well. In any case, hope you liked my video here and my explanations. Let me know what you think about the game so far, about how it went for you, how the pay to win feels for you. And yeah, maybe we'll see some updates to the game, because I actually enjoy my time in this game so far, but I also know that the competitive part of it is basically dying very fast right now. So that's it for now. Hope you liked it. Subscribe for more Diablo content, and I'll see you guys next time.